Well, maybe Maya's right. Maybe I sabotaged my job on purpose. I mean, the truth is I've been unhappy for a long time. That's why I snapped at Lynn. I feel trapped in my job.
Joan, lots of people feel trapped in their jobs. Okay, but you don't just up and quit before you got something better to go to.
Yeah, but I dread going to work. I hate having to kiss the asses of all these money-hungry corporate clients. I hate having to keep track of every second of every day so that I can reach some arbitrary number of billable hours just to earn some year-end bonus so I can pay for a vacation that I don't even have time to take. I hate it all.
Hey, what's going on, family? It's your boy Barry Darius.
And your girl Esther Darius.
And this is
B&E's House, where we establish fun, fulfillment, and foundation in your life and marriage. And today, what are we talking about, babe?
We're going to talk about career crisis.
Career crisis. If you just seen the intro that we posted, it is an episode of Girlfriends where Joan is dealing with that exact thing. She is dealing with the difficulty of actually hating her job. And the crazy thing is, it was her colleagues and her friends that was able to identify and tell her, like, girl, you do not like your job and you're sabotaging what you have.
Yeah.
Yes, she actually had to deal with the harsh reality that what she studied and what she's been doing for 7 years is something that she really does not like. And you hear her talk about her arbitrary numbers and not being able to take vacations. And I do believe that there's a lot of you guys, especially millennials, who are probably dealing with this exact same thing.
We're all dealing with it. Right.
Career crisis. And what do we do when we feel like everything that we put in time into, went to college for, spent money on?
And some of us didn't go to college and we're just kind of in a possibly dead-end job.
Right. And all of that. And you're trying to figure out, what do I do next?
I mean,
this ain't it.
Yeah. I mean, with career crisis, I mean, let's kind of understand what career crisis is, right? Career crisis is basically a moment in time where you have an intense time of difficulty where things are just unstable in terms of your career, right? I mean, that's what crisis means, is a unstable time of intense difficulty. So career crisis is just a time where you're just like, why am I here? Like, am I supposed to be here in this place, in this building, at this particular field of study? Like, what's going on?
And the instability comes from you. It's not even that fact that the job itself is not stable. It's you. It's the way that you fit into the company. It's the way that you fit in the atmosphere and the environment. You feel unstable because you feel like, I don't fit in here. I don't fit in. I don't feel right. And sometimes now, what happened with Jones, her countenance, her body language, everything showed that she did not belong there. So here are some things that we want you to think about as far as career crisis, okay? So the first one is, I like my career, but I am at the wrong company. So that can be an indication. Not everyone is having the crisis that the career itself is the issue. Sometimes the issue is maybe the environment of where I'm placed is not the best. Another thing I can think of is, I love watching How I Met Your Mother, and Marshall, he went to school for law. But he went to school for environmental law. So when he went into corporate law, he actually hated the company that he worked for. So it was not that he hated law, it was the fact that the company that he was working for was contrary to what it is he went to school for, and his passion was environmental law.
And also, you know, you're probably in a place where you're underappreciated. You know, they don't really value as much as they should. You know, that may be indication that maybe that's not the place for you.
Exactly.
Right?
You can get the next one.
So the second one is, I don't like my career because I am in the wrong field of study.
So what does that mean?
So field of study is just it's a branch of a broad general area of study, right? It could be an area of economics, an area of engineering, an area of health, right? That's your field of study. And within those field of studies, you have like a whole bunch of industries, a whole bunch of companies underneath, right? So it's like, you could be somebody who's in health, and then you realize, I actually like art, you know, or I like, you know, studying about fossils, I don't know, you know, or music. So, you know, that's a very big thing of realizing that, you know, what you're doing right now, what you studied, isn't actually what you like.
That's a big one. That's a big one. The other one is, I like what I do, but I'm in the wrong industry. What does that mean?
Well, again, like you can have the field of study and then you can have industry. Industry is just, you know, companies, you know, a set of companies that basically do the same type of business, right? So you might be into, I don't know, electronics and computer, and you're thinking that, oh man, I want to go into computer engineering, but realistically, you want to go into sound engineering.
Oh, you know? Okay.
It's
so
like,
it's not even to say that what you were taught or what you went to school for is not helpful or beneficial in the industry. It just means that the particular type of industry that you're in may not fit what you're looking for.
Correct. So you want to be specific about like, what is it that I want to do?
Yeah.
You know?
And I think with that one, that comes with experience. I don't think that person will actually know unless they did something and realize it wasn't it. So with that one, it takes time. So if you've already put in maybe 2 or 3 years in a profession and you realize, okay, this industry, I still love this, but for some reason when I'm here, it just doesn't work. So don't get that twisted with the first one where you're in the wrong company. Maybe it's the industry itself.
Yeah, sometimes a lot of occupations are like ambiguous. Like you think it means something and then you go do it and you're like, this is not what I thought.
This is not what I imagined at all. And the last one is, I do not like working for someone else. And I think that is probably the basis and foundation of career crisis sometimes. There are people today, and I love the boom that we have for entrepreneurship. They really do not like the idea of working for someone else's vision.
Especially for the millennials, our generation. I mean, the whole 9-to-5 mindset is just completely out the window with our generation. And we're just kind of like, I saw my parents, you know, struggle for this amount of time, you know, work for 30, 40 years. That's not the way that I want to do it. You know?
And it's not even to say that when you work for yourself, that it's going to be easy peasy, lemon squeezy, you know? It just means that I'm willing to put in the necessary work to be able to have something for the long haul that can be able for me and my family, and, you know, something that can be lasting, that's mine. That's really what it is. It's mine.
Exactly.
So these are the 4, I guess, identifiers?
Just kind of situations that people may be going through in terms of career crisis. And so we now want to go into answering the outlines that we mentioned before, like the different situations of the crisis, right? And we want to go into each one of them, just kind of give just simple, you know, tips and suggestions and recommendations that can help you if you're in that type of situation.
Okay, so I can state them and you can give the responses. Is that good?
Sure, yeah, we can do that.
All right, so the first one that we talked about is, I like my career, but I am in the wrong company. What do you say to that they should do?
What I say to that is just apply to another company. Like, I feel as if like there's a lot of people who feel this this attachment to a company, but in reality, you know, these companies are not necessarily attached to you. They're not necessarily loyal to you. The bottom line for these companies is whatever it is the vision is for that company.
They're loyal to production.
Right.
They need to produce, they need the outcome, they need to keep running. So when you have this moment of entitlement, or you feel like you're supposed to have more, and if it doesn't fit the needs that they're looking for, no offense, you are disposable. Unless you've become someone who is just so good at what you do and you're irreplaceable, that is when they will do anything to keep you. But that is not always the case. So if you are in that area, just like what he said.
Just
apply.
Just apply. Just take that leap of faith and apply somewhere to, you believe that you'll be valued, that you'll be appreciated. Somewhere that'll be most beneficial to you and your family, location-wise, all the benefits and all that stuff. Just apply. Don't be scared. Just apply.
Just apply.
Okay?
Okay, so the next one is, I don't like my career because I am in the wrong field of study. Response.
So, what I would answer to that is, like, what do you like to do? What are you passionate about? What do you have an affinity towards, right? Because if you think that you're in the wrong field of study, then that means that you have encountered and have discovered a certain, interest towards something that you feel that is your field of study to go into.
My interest is piqued.
Yeah.
So my question to you would be, what is it? And then once you figure that out, then you can just ask yourself, okay, well, how can I get into that field?
I could say this as a helpful tool. I did hear this before. Ask other people what they see you as, because there are some times we are showcasing our gifts and talents and skills, and we don't even know it. We don't even see it. It is not until somebody else say like, "Wow, like you're really organized." I am. Oh wow, you're so eloquent with your speech. I am.
Correct.
Oh wow, you're very good with kids. I am. So until you ask around, you may not even realize that your gift is showcasing itself, and that is probably the field of study that you should think about.
Yeah. So definitely explore that. Explore all of those things. Explore, these native abilities that you don't see for yourself, but other people seem to see it.
Yep. The next one is, I like what I do, but I'm in the wrong industry. Response.
I would answer it probably similar to my last response. Is, if you feel like you're in the wrong industry, again, like, what is it that kind of gave that away?
Yeah,
right?
that's good.
Talk to, and like, my wife said before, talk to people who are in the same industry or in another industry that you're interested in, and saying, hey, about this area, how is it like? What do you guys typically do? What's the scope of work that you guys typically engage in?
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
And you have to think about it, because you're in an industry, but there's different trades. So I think the best thing to do is ask yourself, after the time that you've been at the company or the industry that you've been in, what are the pros and then what are the cons? What are the things that is joyous about the actual industry, but what are the things that you don't like? Because that might be able to kind of help you figure out, okay, I like this, but I don't like that. And like my husband said, maybe you should ask around and ask people who's in the same industry, but maybe are doing other trades.
Correct.
Yeah, and then you can just get some input.
Yeah, and even if you don't know anyone, Google someone, right? We have Google. You can Google, top XYZ, top whatever, and just try to engage and, try to find a way to kind of get into that space so that you can start to, get yourself interactive with that particular industry.
Yeah, I agree. The last one was, I don't like working for someone else. Response.
Well, my response is, starting a business can be very challenging.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
The many people that we have spoken to, and even ourselves, in starting a business, it takes a lot of focus. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of planning and organizational skills, but it is worth it, right? Because you get to, I think a lot of the reason why people want to kind of do their own thing is they want control of their time. Right? I think you said one time when we were speaking that you said to have what did you say?
I always say I want my time back. That's what I always say. I want to be sole proprietor of my time.
Sole proprietor of per time.
Yes, this is definitely a vision that I have for myself, because if one thing I realized in the 9 to 5 is that we're trading our time for money. And you have to think about it as I have time.
Yeah.
And I went to someone and say, hey, I will give you 40 hours a week in exchange for this amount of money.
Yeah.
And what happens is you work it, and then now you get caught into this 9 to 5, and now you actually have to ask back for the time that you had now given or laundered away to them.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is get access back to that time that was given away for money. And as an entrepreneur, what you're trying to do now is get more time in order to make the money. So you really have to start thinking about entrepreneurship, because it's different from what you're doing today as a career.
Time is priceless, right? So like you said, you know, you're trading in, you know, your time for money. So when they say that, you know, we're gonna pay you $25 an hour or $10 an hour, $15 an hour, they're basically saying that your hour of your life is only worth $15. Right?
Yep.
And so you gotta think to yourself, like, is my time really worth that much?
Yeah.
And if you feel that it's worth a lot more, then you either, number one, you know, go towards them and say, hey, I want to get paid for this amount. Or, you know, you start your own business, become an entrepreneur, and you create that wealth, you know, that really truly showcases your value. And then it's from there that you can start creating the passive income, the generational wealth. You start to create these resources to be able to do the things that you actually love to do, right? And fund the things that you do, you know, whether it's something that's philanthropic or something that's catered towards humanity, right? You just have all of these benefits from, you know, starting your own thing.
Exactly. But we just also want you to realize that it is going to take time. It's going to take work, and you have to take the necessary education and learn about what does entrepreneurship look like, how does it look like to begin my own business, and what does that look like to start one up. Okay.
Exactly. You want to make sure that you also surround yourself with the right people. So create around you the right team, because you won't be able to do it alone. You won't be able to do it alone. Okay. And the weaknesses that you have, hire it. You know,
I like that.
You have that option. You don't have to try and be everything. You know, all the big, you know, companies and stuff like that, like they hire, you know, people in different roles and parts to be able to do the things that the actual leader, you know, can't do.
Exactly. And remember, it's all about time. That leader is gaining more time back to themselves. If they were to take on every single role to keep the company running, they're losing time, and now they're back into the system of a 9 to 5 where it's exchanging time for money. So you have to think completely differently if you're trying to do entrepreneurship.
Be a business owner, not just self-employed.
Ooh, good job, babe. I like that.
So, my bad. So we're gonna go ahead and start with like an exercise, right? I mean, I just kind of want to just do a little small quiz.
Yeah, let's try this out. Let's see.
You know, and just kind of see like where our heads are at, and you know, it's a step in the right direction. Right? To just kind of at least go into acknowledgement of where you're at in terms of career.
Yeah. So let's do it.
The first question, right, I want to ask is, if you had to do it all over again, would you be doing what you are doing today? Right?
Wow, that's a good one.
That's a good question. The second question is, if no to the first question, what do you think you would be doing instead?
Okay.
Right? And number 3, in a perfect world, what is your ideal job? I mean, like, what is that number one thing that you know that you would be doing right now if you had it your way, right? Number 4, whatever is your ideal job, is that what you answered for number 2? Now remember, number 2, I said,
what would you be doing instead?
Instead of what you're doing now, right? Number 5 is, if you didn't answer your ideal job for number 2, why didn't you answer number 4 the same as number 2, right? Because a lot of times some of us will say, oh, well, I would probably doing this instead. It's like, well, is that what you would want as your ideal job, right?
Yeah.
And so number 5 and number 6 just kind of puts it all together. Like, what is holding you back? Like that thing that would be your ideal job that you would want to do most. Like, what is holding you back from just going after it, you know?
So what would you be doing instead?
I know for me, instead of what I'm doing right now, I'd probably be doing what I'm doing now, which is, you know, just kind of public speaking.
Yeah, that's good.
Just traveling and just being able to share knowledge, you know, maybe do some TED Talks, you know. I like inspiring, I like motivating, I like sharing knowledge and wisdom. And I mostly just kind of like giving insight, you know, because a lot of us, we just kind of grow up in a certain space environment where we only hear one thing and not, you know, expose ourselves to many things.
Okay.
You know?
So is that your ideal job?
Yes.
And I think it's important that we think about what Barry asked about question number 4. You know, whether or not what you're doing instead matches the ideal job. Because for me, if you were to ask me that question without asking the ideal part, I would have probably said something like psychology. But then if you were to ask me, is that my ideal job? I don't think that would be. And I think it's important for you guys to distinguish the two and make sure that you realize that they may not be similar.
Yeah.
They might have the same characteristics because I get to talk like I like to do now.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that the career itself is something that I'll probably be well in, you know?
Right, correct. You know, and a lot of people want to kind of like, you know, reference their answer based on like how much you're getting paid. I remember in the same episode of Girlfriends where the guy asked the girl, hey, you know, what would you want to be doing instead of what you're doing now? And she said something like mailman or whatever. But she only said that answer based on the pay.
Yeah.
And then when the guy was like, well, if money was not
an option,
an issue, like what would be your ideal place of occupation? She said, well, I want to own my own hair store.
Yeah,
you know?
I do remember
and that's a
that.
completely different response, right? So that's why you kind of want to, you know, just kind of think to yourself, like, what is it that I really want to do? What am I passionate about? You know, what are my interests? You know, what is it that I want to do that you probably wouldn't even have to pay me for? I just love doing it.
Exactly.
I just enjoy doing it.
Exactly.
So we just kind of want to go into this topic because we understand that a lot of people are going through it.
Yeah.
We understand that it's a big deal. And
it is.
Truth be told, a lot of people go into depression, they go into anxiety, they go into fearfulness because of, you know, the crisis that is within their career. But we want to encourage you, and we want to kind of, you know, just help give you support to go after, you know, that thing that makes you happy. You know, you want to live a life fulfilled, not just a life that is just stagnant and complacent and you're just settling, but go after that very thing that makes you feel fulfilled. And if it means, you know, going to another company, if it means going into another industry, if it means starting your own thing, if it means like taking a break and just sitting down realizing, okay, what do I want?
Yeah.
You owe that to yourself.
And I want to just say this, in the clip that we showed earlier, you noticed that Joan did have money saved. So even though she did not completely have the answer, she had a plan. And if you really think that that's where you fall in and you feel like, okay, I need to completely shift it, like this is not it, make that plan and actually have something to fall back on, because she did not just go in just, well, I don't like my job, I'm just gonna quit and whatever. But she at least had something to fall back on to figure it out.
Yep. Don't be defeated, guys. Don't be defeated, you know. It's a journey. Remember, it's a journey, and it's at your own pace. So, you know, just make sure that you're in the right frame of mindset. Make sure that, you know, you shift your mind to where it needs to be. Understand that you have a purpose and a calling, right? Remember that things are gonna be challenging, but you just gotta push through it, work hard. Remember to write it down.
Write it
down.
Yes.
Write it down. Okay? And keep pushing forward and everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah, and just always do what you gotta do for you.
Yeah.
Okay? And
do what's necessary to
I
live
think
a life
that's
fulfilled.
it, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Do what you have to do and live a life
Fulfilled.
fulfilled. Yes.
All
do
right.
that. So that's all we have for you. We hope you got something out of this conversation about career crisis. I hope that you are ready to go out and do what you need to do for yourself. If you liked this video and you thought it was so beneficial, please share or subscribe to be part of our B&E House family.
Yep.
And we are looking forward to your comments because we want to keep the conversation going. So let us know, which one do you fall under and how is it that you're dealing with it? All right?
All right, guys.
See you in the next video.
Peace.